Hello entrepreneurs, welcome back to Aspinect TV, bringing you insight and information into the world of business and entrepreneurship. My name is Tayla.
And I'm Anita. And today we're going to be speaking to Mr. Michael Olaye, who in our opinion is a very big deal.
So we're going to get straight into this one. Today we're interviewing Mr.
Michael Olaye.
And to the viewers who may not know who you are, how would you describe yourself? Like, can you please lay out your credentials?
Sure. I am a business geek.
And can you elaborate on business geek? Like, what makes you a geek? Because I feel like geek has a bit of a negative connotation to some.
No, the geeks rule the world today. It's not it's Zuckerberg, and the list is long. Elon Musk. What I do is I basically am a technologist, ex-developer, ex-programmer, and I currently run an agency.
So what's your agency about?
So I got two jobs. The first one is the 7 agencies that I look after from a technology point of view. They range all the way from a marketing agency all the way across to advertising and content. And then the agency in that list, one of them is a digital agency called Dare, and I'm the CEO of that agency. And Dare is basically an agency that's been around for 17 years, very strong heritage. And we do digital design engineering, which is around making products that are digital, both on a service level and at a product level. And in a very simple way of explaining that, we can do everything from a full installation in a shop, all the way to making an app, all the way to building a site, or just thinking about digital strategy. So what should a brand be doing in 2030 digitally?
So before we came, I was looking at your LinkedIn account and I saw that you're a Chief Technology Officer. So what is a Chief Technology Officer and what do you do?
Sure. So in the old traditional model of companies or agencies, you have your Chief Executive Officer, you have a Chief Financial Officer who looks after the money, you have your Chief Strategy Officer who looks after the strategy of companies or groups or whatever. And in the last kind of 10 years, there's been a few more new chiefs. So there's Chief Information Officer, which is somebody who looks at all the technology inside the company that makes it work. And then there's a Chief Technology Officer, which looks at that and sometimes also all the technology outside the company and that makes it work. So in my job as Chief Technology Officer, I concentrate very much on the technologies that our clients need to work and function properly.
We kind of live in a bit of like a technological world. Like technology is very much, becoming a bigger and bigger thing. So I feel like that's a very important role for like the business. Would you say it's one of the most important? Like where would you rank it as part of like the...
Good question. So yeah, 5 years ago, I would probably say this person was more important than that person. But we live in a world today where you can't, especially in the digital world, you can't fix anything with just the one. So there are many, many important chief roles. Chief CXO, Chief Experience Officer, Chief Digital Officer, Chief Technology Officer, these roles and Chief Strategy Officer, I'll say those 4 roles are super important in today.
Fair enough. How did you get into, the role of being a Chief Technology Officer? And
this is a long story, but I'll cut it short. So I did electrical engineering at university. I picked up a book one day, which was HTML for Dummies, I think. And I started just reading it, and then it had some stuff on making text animate across the screen. This is like 1997. And then I tried it, the text animated, it was amazing. I carried on doing it. And then a year later, I found myself with a laptop and my own version of a CV on a digital animation, going from door to door in London, knocking on every agency. I knocked about maybe 13 agencies, 12 rejected me, 1 finally accepted me in Covent Garden. And then, yeah, here I am. I started coding, did that until 2013. I still code at home, but not at work anymore. And then built I had my own agency for 10 years, sold it, then took a year out, then went to a company called Havas, been there for 5 years, built a digital team there, then came here.
The name of your company, how did you think of it?
Which name?
Dare.
I didn't think of Dare. I didn't create Dare. Dare's been around for 17 years. It's a very, very strong brand. Pretty much everyone who's in the digital industry knows of it. I didn't create it, no. I wish I did.
So did you always want to be what you are today, or did you have other aspects and inspirations in life?
I wanted to be a pilot. I had no interest in technology or anything like that. I trained to be a pilot. I didn't become a pilot because they wanted £70,000 after I graduated for the flight training, which I didn't have.
a lot of people understand that there's become a growing divide between being one of the wealthiest people in the country and being, not so much like one of the richest people in the country. Like it's a divide that's there. And a lot of young people who do happen to unfortunately be in the lower thingy, they kind of want to build their way up, but they don't know how to. They don't know how to get past that gap. Like, what advice would you give to these young people who want to go somewhere, or maybe want to follow in your footsteps? Like, how would you go about, encouraging them?
The easiest way I can explain this is to not be prescriptive. So don't look at somebody else and think, I want to be exactly what that person is. Look at them and think, I want to be similar to what that person is. And then it's human connections, right? So if you can understand how other humans work, you will go further than you normally would. Most of the limitations of people in careers is not the careers, not the skill set, it's the character. Yeah. So when you see very wealthy or rich people, the money doesn't come easy. There's usually a sacrifice somewhere, or there's usually a lot of hard work somewhere. So don't be afraid of hard work, number one. Don't be afraid to fail. Number two, don't try and be perfect. Don't be a unicorn, because it doesn't exist. And the fourth one I would say is never put yourself in a box. So a lot of times you hear people say, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to be this, and they just 100% don't look at anything else. But the world doesn't work like that. You need to always have a little bit on the left and right. Focus on what you want to be, but keep left and right a little bit open, and it gives you leeway. And the more exposed you are, the better you'll be.
Did you face any challenges?
Yes, quite a lot.
Such as?
Debt, stress, working 18, 20 hours for maybe 5 years. I have a son who's 18, so not exactly an old man. I had my son when I was 23. I had my daughter when I was 27, so I had my whole family to look after as well. Just general life problems, mortgages, bills. The world has a funny way of throwing you a curveball when everything's going perfect. Like I said, don't be prescriptive. As long as you understand that there's a journey you're on, and that journey has many roads, you shouldn't throw yourself away just because it didn't go the way you prescribe it. So a lot of people give up because they prescribe. They go, I need to buy that house, that car, and live in that place and have that kind of woman. And if any of those don't work, they kind of give up and go back to ground like the beginning. You should always be flexible, because life is never straightforward.
So how did you persevere and not give up?
I just didn't really think about it. I just carried on. I do what I love, and I believe if you're doing what you love, when bad things happen, you don't call it you don't call it bad. You just call it an experience. I try and fail fast. If I try something, it doesn't work, I don't dwell. I move on. I try not to hold any grudges. I try not to build any bad relationships. And I believe that respecting people you work with and people who have respect for you takes you a long way. So I don't sell my soul to anyone. If I believe that somebody I'm working with isn't in the best intentions for the collective, I won't hang around. I will go and do my own thing. So that's kind of what I've done so far, and it's worked.
When you responded to my question before, you said that a lot of the rich people in today's world have made a lot of sacrifices. What would you say the hardest part of your job role is like? And would you say that you've had to make any sacrifices for it?
Looking after the people that work for me. I don't look at myself when I walk in the morning. I'm not here for me. I'm here for the people that work for the company. I'm not here for the brand. I'm not here for the work so much. I'm here for the people who do the work. So if the people are happy and they feel that I'm giving them what they need to do their jobs properly, then the work reflects that and the agency gets better. So
it's not a sacrifice that you have to deal with today. It's just, like, would you say you had to sacrifice anything important to you? Like, even time, if anything, like, would you say it was very time consuming to get to a place where you are today in order to make sure that you're at a position where you just have to ensure that other people are happy?
Yeah. So a lot of people ask me about, like, I work late hours sometimes. And for me, I don't see it as working late hours. I just see it as doing what I love. So I have friends who would say, oh, you work all night, or you work all... I don't see it as... So it's a passion, it's not just work. Okay. And even if it was just work, I would still find a passion within that work. Yeah. So I might do a 9 to 5, but I might choose to hang out with the people I work with, or I might get to know what they're like outside the office, or I might get to know what their drivers are. And like I said, agencies or companies are just buildings full of people. If you understand the people, things tend to work out okay. If you only think about yourself and what your goals are and how much money you want to make, you tend to step on a lot of people when you're doing that. And yes, you might make a lot of money, but you're not going to have the experience you need for when something bad happens, if it does. It might not, but if it does, you're not going to have that experience. So you probably fall down flat on your face all by yourself.
There are a lot of people out here who will see that, you know, they'll go for a job, they maybe get the job, they're not so much interested in the job, but they're getting paid a decent amount an hour and they'll just stick it out. They're bored out of their mind 24/7 while they're working and they just don't want to be there. Like, what advice would you give to those people? Would you tell them to, I don't want to say forget the money, but would you tell them to, you know, prioritize finding happiness in their workplace or prioritize the money, like money or happiness, or do they come together?
We work to live, we don't live to work. So it's very simple. If you don't like your job, but it pays the bills and you're happy with your job, even though you don't like it, stick with it until you find a better one. If it makes you miserable and you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do that job, go find another job. Because if you bring your bad vibes from your home into your office, you poison everybody else, and then it gets worse.
Thank you for your time, Michael. We appreciate it. Alright, so now we have the Aspinect challenge, and this is a chance for us to either gain a mentor for free or a chance for Michael here to gain 2 personal assistants. So we're going to get straight into it.
Okay, so the first question is, what does RAM mean on a computer? A, random access memory, B, repetitive assessment measurement, or C, read access memory? That's wrong. The answer is A, random access memory. All right. The second question is, Lonnie G. Johnson is the inventor of the most famous water gun, the Super Soaker. However, he wasn't a toy maker and worked for NASA as A, chemical engineer, B, aerodynamic mathematician, or C, aerospace engineer.
I'm going to guess this one, C.
Yeah, you got it right.
So what is part of a database that holds only one part of information? A report, B, a field, C, a record. D, a file.
Record.
Wait. That's wrong. The answer is B, which is a field. Yes, is that 2-1?
Yeah. Close.
The fourth question is, who co-founded Hotmail in 1996 and then sold the company to Microsoft? A, Sean Fanning, B, Ada Byron Lovelace, C, Sabir Bhatia, or D, Ray Tomlinson? Yeah, he got it right.
I told you, I'm playing, keep it close.
Okay.
I need the answers to 1 and 3.
Alright, so question 5. Martin Cooper, the inventor of the mobile phone, made the first mobile phone call in which New York borough? A, the Bronx, B, Staten Island, C, Manhattan, or D, Brooklyn?
Damn, this is a hard one. Let's go Manhattan. Correct?
Yeah, it's 3-2 to it's 3-2 to Michael here. So thank you, Michael. Thank you for your time.
No problem. Nice having you.
We appreciate you doing the Aspinect challenge. We appreciate the time and the questions you've answered today. And we hope to see you soon.
Me too. Looking forward to it. Thank you for having me.
And you. Hi, I'm Tayla.
And I'm Anita.
And you're watching Aspinect TV.